me up for later.
Here we are.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Before we start our meeting tonight, our mayor has a presentation he'd like to go over with you.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor?
Thanks, Mr. Spadaro. We're honoring Joe Nath here tonight. Joe is a Murraysville resident who, at the age 2, was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. Born with perfect pitch, Joe has excelled as a singer and expanded into acting and performing. Since he was 9 years old, Joe has acted in multiple local short films, has done background work for Netflix, and is active in theater productions. Joe is very involved with an organization called Band Together Pittsburgh, which is a nonprofit that works with individuals on the autism spectrum through music programs. Joe is one of the premier performers and has been on stages all over Pittsburgh and will be on stage at the Benedum on 12/11 and a very Yinzer Christmas. Band Together also hosts open mics at least once a month and offers instrument and music lessons and music therapy, all at no cost to the families they serve. I'll ask Joe to come forward for this meritorious citation, which I'll read to him. He'll come over here. I'll give you a microphone. Over here, Joe, okay? This certificate is awarded to Joe Nath for singing the Star Spangled Banner at the Pittsburgh Pirate game on July 30th and for continually working to improve opportunities for our special needs population. Murraysville is proud of you and your accomplishments. We look forward to hearing more from you. If you can dream it, you can do it. Joe's going to be kind enough to sing the Star Spangled Banner for her here tonight. If you want to make your comments first, feel free to make your comments.
I might sing first to get out of the way.
Okay. Thank you. Whatever you want.
Oh, say, can you
Get up.
see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I even wrote a little something today. And this one I'll use the mic for. Thank you very much for this honor. It means so much to me that my community wanted to recognize me for singing the national anthem at the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball game. But it means even more to me that I am able to be seen as an advocate who can help make a difference with others with disabilities. I wasn't always sure what my future would hold, but I'm still not. But what I do know for a fact is that I will never let a diagnosis or label hold me back from achieving my dreams, and that I will always fight for others to achieve their dreams too. If you can dream it, you can do it. That's Walt Disney said that. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Congratulations again. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Mr. Spadaro.
Okay, and again now, before we start our meeting, we are going to have a public hearing for CU-1-23 LV F Property Development LLC, tax parcel 4914010215, 4425 Old William Penn Highway, mixed-use zoning for a proposed retail store. And for those who don't know where that's at, that's where the old post office used to be in Marysville.
And just for the record, I would correct the address. It is listed improperly. The address is 3898 Old William Penn Highway.
3890,
98.
3898.
That's correct.
President Council, LVF proposes to remodel the structure and turn it into a retail store. Because it's in the mixed-use zone, a change of use, the previous use was daycare and various other activities. Because it's in the mixed-use zone and it's a change of use, it requires a conditional use hearing. The site plan and remodeling activities will be handled administratively.
Okay. Any questions from council or discussion?
Just to mention that it was approved by our planning commission.
Okay.
And the one thing in certain is that it more than meets the parking requirements.
More. Okay, the applicant's here. You have any questions? No. No questions?
Thank you so much for helping out make Marysville a more beautiful place.
Okay, thank you. No questions, no discussions? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing closed.
Okay.
Okay, how about a roll call, please?
Mr. McKenna?
Here.
Mr. Dice? Mr. Stepanovich?
Here.
Mrs. Ling?
Present.
Mr. Spadaro?
Here.
Dr. Lee Corns?
Here.
Mr. Lemak?
Here.
Mayor Sina?
Here.
And for the pledge and allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement, unlisted amendments, Mr. Nestico.
Yes, we do have a few unlisted amendments for this evening. Bear with me here. I'm going to recommend that council remove item 9A, and in conjunction with that, item 14A from the agenda. That is the short-term rental ordinance and a discussion regarding that item. We don't have the full quorum, we don't have the full contingent of council members this evening, and part of the discussion in the past was to have all 7 members here for that. So I would ask and recommend that council strike those items from the agenda this evening. Additionally, in following up with our solicitor, we've had a couple recent developments regarding the oil and gas lease at Duff Park, which is item 13A. I believe that the solicitor recommended prior to the meeting that we would also table the discussion on item 13A. We'll move that one to November 1st. We have to clear up a few issues with the title to a few of those parcels, if that's correct. Additionally, I would ask council to add an item 9C and 13D. Both of those items will relate to a discussion on a oil and gas lease at MCP. That would be in the same, a similar capacity as the one at Duff Park that is on the agenda. So we'd like to have some discussion with council on a potential oil and gas lease at MCP. So we would add that on as a discussion item 9C, and then also potentially an action item 13D, and I can present what that action item will be as we get to that portion of the meeting. So as we move forward, I'll remind which items we're taking off and adding on. That's quite a bit to amend for this evening.
That was 9C.
That's correct. 9C, discussion of an oil and gas lease
And
at Marysville
13D.
Community Park.
And what else? 13D?
13D is in dog.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to have approval for the consent calendar items.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar items.
Second.
Matt and Jamie Lee, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved of calendar items. Okay, Mr. Mayor,
Thank you, Mr. Spadero. We have a few announcements here tonight. First of all, the first curbside leaf collection program date is coming up Saturday, October 21st. Republic Services will conduct municipal-wide sweeps to collect leaf and yard waste. You must schedule a pickup on one of the collection days. So please fill out the curbside leaf collection program form on the municipal website, www.murraysville.com. Under About Us and select Forms, Permits, Maps. There's a 20-bag limit each collection date. The deadline to sign up for each day is the Thursday before the pickup date. Next, we have the trick or treat on the trail on Saturday, October 28th. We're looking for vendors to sign up for the trick or treat. We need businesses and organizations to join us on the Westmoreland Heritage Trail on Saturday, October 28th to provide treats to our trick or treaters. Help us reach our goal of more than 50 vendors this year. Check out the website and get registered. MurraysvillePARecreation.com is the website. Next, our Public Works is hiring. The municipality of Murraysville is seeking qualified applicants for the position of full-time skilled laborer within the Public Works Department. Although a CDL Class A license is preferred, an applicant who does not possess the preferred license, once hired, will have 180 days to obtain a CDL Class A license with the air brake restriction. Applicants are required to lift 100 pounds, have the ability to work in extreme weather conditions for long periods of time. A high school diploma or GED equivalent is required. This position also involves the availability for overtime hours, day or night. General construction, asphalt, masonry, and turf maintenance skills are preferred but not mandatory. Next, we have another position open, hiring part-time administrative assistant. The qualified person for this job performs a variety of routine and complex clerical, secretarial, and administrative work in keeping official records and providing administrative support to the Public Works Director and staff. The work will include telephone answering, typing, word processing, and record management. It's a part-time position with a somewhat flexible 16 to 20-hour week. Lastly, this is for the kids and the adults who have to be out there watching. Trick or Treat is on Tuesday, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m., the traditional trick or treat evening, and that concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Sinan. Mr. Nestico.
Just a few comments for this evening. Thus far, the two openings that the mayor just mentioned were placed in the Tribune Review. The advertisement was placed in the Tribune Review, so we're getting a little bit more visibility on those two openings. We've received 10-plus applications thus far for the laborer position, which is a positive, and also at least 17 applications for the Public Works Administrative Assistant position. Now again, because this went out in the Trib, it's somewhat county-wide, so there are applicants from all around the area, but we still want to encourage, especially local residents, for those two positions, notably the laborer position, because it does require sometimes quick emergency call-outs for stormwater or snow events. So, the preference is to have someone that's located near the community or within the community. So, we're still accepting applications and seeking to fill those positions. And then lastly, just a reminder, this was also mentioned last month, but because we have some oil and gas items on the agenda this evening, we've gotten feedback from the community regarding those oil and gas leases, and I think some of the community may be under the impression that the oil and gas lease would require surface activity or drilling on the property, and that is not the case. We want to make clear that this is all subsurface activity. The oil and gas gas wells would not be located on municipal property. So that's all for this month.
Thank you very much. Okay, community input. Has anybody signed up? Thank you. Ooh. All right, the first one is that Jesse, is that Stock? Jesse?
We're part of the Eaton Park submittal, so we decided.
Oh, you want to wait for Eaton Park? Okay. Andy,
He said skip that one, yeah.
skip that one. You two are together, okay. Tom Pike. Tom, you have 3 minutes. Give us your name and address, please.
My name is Tom Pike. I live at 3806 Greensburg Pike. I was born and raised in Murraysville. I lived here from 1986 to 2005, and again from 2020 to 2022. I'm here tonight as an environmental policy advocate with Protect PT, which is a local nonprofit, and we have 34 members in Murraysville on whose behalf I'll be speaking tonight. So I'm here tonight to call on you to vote no on the proposed ordinance that would open up the subsurface of Duff Park to fracking, and I will be back on November 1st. I'm not under the impression that there would be activity happening on the would go with my family when I was visiting Murraysville so I could see the fall colors. We're not asking for much. We're not asking you to stop fracking forever today. We're just asking that 234 acres of public parkland be set aside for the benefit of the public. This isn't land under which any private corporation should be allowed to extract a profit at the public's expense. This lease sale moved so quickly. I only got the right to know request back yesterday, about 24 hours before the vote. So I realized this ordinance was advertised as legally required, but it still feels like it was pushed through so fast that we couldn't really keep up with it. I also found out from that right to know that a similar lease was approved on a much smaller parcel of land in a park this March. This precedent doesn't make this proposed much larger lease okay or normal. Just because this council made a mistake once doesn't obligate it to do so again on almost 10 times as many acres. Turtle Creek is already a watershed under threat. You know this because it's mentioned in your recent pollution reduction plan. But there's no point in enacting a PRP for Turtle Creek if you're going to frack under it. Bioswales and cattails, they can only do so much. At some point you have to draw a line and say, no, this park is important to us. Turtle Creek is important to us. We're not going to do this to it. You know, I've been going there for 36 years. It's called Turtle Creek. I've never once seen a turtle in it. It reminds me of the way this country almost killed bald eagles, but then we stepped back from the brink. The namesake of Turtle Creek has been nearly exterminated because of the actions of heavy industry, but some may be able to return if we step back from that brink now. If you are just looking for a way to generate revenue for the municipality, there are better ways. Belmont have done them. If you take a meeting with me, I gave my card to each of you. If you take a meeting with me or you call me, I'd be happy to talk more about that. I don't really have time in this public comment today, but I urge you to please call me. I realize this lease would be a subsurface lease with surface operations near the park, but not within it. The lease does allow fracturing and horizontal drilling, but even if Olympus didn't plan to frack, or even if they just put a conventional well there, we would still oppose that because that's not what parks are for. I would oppose it if somebody wanted to build a brick and mortar Dippin' Dots in the park. It's just not for generating profit. There's no way to drill there, whether conventionally or by hydraulic fracturing, without damaging the park. Even if the drilling pad is...
You have 30 seconds to finish.
Thank you. Even if the drilling pad is next to it, think about the noise, the air quality. Who's going to take their kids there? When Allegheny County approved 2 subsurface fracking leases in Deer Lakes Park in 2015, the park's water quality was ruined, perhaps permanently. Based on that experience, they moved to ban future fracking leases in or under their parks. But by then it was too late. If you approve this, there is no going back.
Thank you very much.
I have to let you know also, There are legal concerns with this. What I handed out was the Duff Park deed for one of the parcels in this property. It does not grant you the oil and gas rights. You can't give away, you can't sell something that doesn't belong to you.
All right, Mr. Pike, thank you very much.
I also have 807 violations by Olympus Energy. Look at the size of this font. This is double-sided. I will leave this with you. I could only print one of them. You'll have to share it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
David King? Is that King? Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
I'm David King, and I live on Hemlock Lane in Murraysville. And I did most of my growing up in Murraysville. I'm a daily user of Murraysville's parks as well. And throughout the summer, I was going through daily runs at Pleasant Valley. Lately, I've been walking at Townsend. And when my wife and I have a free moment together, we'll often pick a park to head off to. And sometimes that takes us to Duff Park. So one thing that we certainly notice when we're at the park is that we're never alone. When we go to any of these parks, they're full of people, often with their dogs and their children. So I think Murraysville's parks are sort of a point of local pride, or at least they're a reason I chose to return here after moving pretty far away. So I was a little bit dismayed to hear that only 2 weeks after I submitted a letter to the editor, to the Penn Franklin, about how Murraysville approved the right to bid on oil and gas rights at Duff Park, but it wasn't at that time too late to stop the bids from being approved. 2 weeks after that, now we're only one step away from it indeed being too late to save our park. I think it's important for us to think about what a park is actually for. They are traditionally public spaces that we set aside specifically not to be developed for any money-making purpose. They're places meant for the free and equal enjoyment of all people. We shouldn't make the mistake of treating someone as being more equal than others just because they show up with a lot of money and want to use the park for their own gains. We certainly would not be okay, as Tom just mentioned now, with setting up retail operations in Duff Park. And even though an oil and gas operation may be entirely subsurface within the park, the principle still applies. Parks are not for sale. I also think that every time I go to Duff Park, I see a sign proudly displayed that says Old Growth Forest Network. So what that means to me is that we have resisted using that space for commercial purposes for its entire existence. So what makes now such a special time that we can finally decide to put it up for sale? I think you'll find there's nothing special about this moment right now that would cause us to sell out one of our beloved public spaces. There are other places to drill, so please protect Duff Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie Midier. Name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Valerie Mitterreiter. I live at 105 Park Lane. Just as a little background for anybody that doesn't know, my husband and I own the majority of the Murraysville tree sign. We own Wiseville. And the people that are directly above us own Murr. This tree sign has always meant a whole lot to me. And I sent a message to everybody and I didn't receive any response. So I decided I'd come in. This is the agreement between Murraysville and Pat DeCesar way back from 1989, where Murraysville agreed to maintain the tree sign. Well, it's not really being maintained. I know there's a certain amount of money given every year for the tree sign. The Amish do come up and they chop down the weeds. There's an awful lot of dead trees and trees need replaced. So if you look at, I'd like you guys to read this in its entirety. It's way too much for me to do here, but it says, the grantee, that's Murraysville, shall be responsible for all maintenance and upkeep of the easement and the Murraysville Living Tree sign therein, and said maintenance and upkeep may be performed by the grantee, its agencies, servants, employees, independent contractors, and representatives, and may be designated at the sole discretion of the grantee from time to time. Now, the thing is, I know money's given, but we need more money. I mean, I think $2,500 is given. We need twice that much. And I'm not asking that this sign is revamped overnight. I don't want it chopped down. I don't want it replanted. I just want money put into keeping it looking a little bit better. We need trees replaced. if a certain amount of additional money can go towards replacing the trees, that would be a big, huge help. Things have to be replaced, not cut down and gotten rid of. You look behind you, what do you have? You have the trees. I mean, those trees are up there because they represent the tree sign. And I don't want to see this go away. I really don't. It says on the page 2 that if this is not maintained, that we can go to court and they can appoint somebody else to, oversight this. I don't, that's ridiculous. I don't want that to happen. This is something that most municipalities don't have. People from all around know about the Murraysville tree sign. I just think that we ought to step up and put a little bit more money towards this. I'm sure the Amish that come out every year are charging more money, gas is more expensive, everything's more expensive, but the money has stayed the entire time. So I'm asking that there's a plan to not only keep up the tree sign, but just what are we going to do for the future? Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Midieri. Name and address. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. Ed Miderator, 105 Park Lane, to reiterate a little bit what my wife was talking about, and for the education of people that might be new to the Murraysville community. This tree sign was built a long, long time ago and done by the Boy Scouts, and was a labor of love. 1933, I think, is when that thing actually got constructed. You know, we've all heard of the Hollywood sign. You know, that's a big thing if you look on movies and stuff, and they always flash Hollywood. There's a lot of pride for the people out there. We need some pride here in Murraysville, too, because we have something that's quite unique, and we were actually featured in the Guinness Book of World Records for one time. We had the largest living tree sign in the world. We since recently got that taken away from us, but still, it's a shame how this thing has been deteriorated. And we spend a lot of money in a lot of other areas, and I sometimes wonder why. I've enjoyed the water park, but we spent a boatload of money out there, and that's a very fractional time that it gets used for short period of time during the year. The tree sign you can see all day, every day, 365 days a year. If you really want to take a good look at what that really looked like prior to it getting out of control, I would invite anybody to go into Atria's restaurant, and when you walk in by the little booth where you sign in your name, you'll see a sign up on the wall there, and it spells out Murraysville quite clearly. Today, good luck. I mean, you really have a hard time even distinguishing what it is. I want to go back to the thing called pride. Our community should have some pride. I belong to SLAM. We're a bunch of old people, 60s, 70s, 80s. Back in the day, there was a lot of younger people. We all went up there and tried to do work and keep it clean. The Boy Scouts, believe it or not, did it, but you have to look at that thing called liability. That's a pretty steep hill. If any of you guys have, we're mentioning Duff Park and some of the other parks, and I've walked in those parks too. You're talking some very steep terrain. Remember, this is Western Pennsylvania. This is not Florida. So there's lots of hills here, and that takes a lot of work to get in there. And I've actually watched the Amish come in and work. My wife and I have actually helped to feed them while they come in. No, they were getting paid, but it was also a labor of love. But I can tell you, it's a job. And these trees need maintained. And what Valerie said is true. It doesn't get built and done overnight, but there should be some kind of a plan. And the plan should be looked at and taken care of and implemented, and not just brushed to the side. I want us to have some pride in this community that we've lived in for a long time. I want to thank you for your time, your consideration. She passed out some stuff. The legalities are there. We don't want to go into that there's enough of that litigious stuff. Let's just do the right thing and put the money in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nestico? Yes. Could we look in to see what the actual cost to kind of rehabilitate that sign?
Yes.
What would all go into that?
Yes, excuse me. We can do that. Right now, within the budget, we contribute anywhere between $5,000 to $6,000 annually toward that. I know that in looking back into the history of this project, funds were raised by different groups within the community. At one point, there were estimates of between $10,000 and $20,000 to do serious improvements to the to the monument. So we can look at what it would cost to kind of bring it back into form, or what options we might have available to us, and we can bring that to council at a future time. We can also have further discussion on the topic as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Thomas A. Pike. Name and address, please, and you have 3 minutes.
Thomas Pike, 4703 Stewart Court, Murraysville. I'm a current resident of Murraysville and lived for 35 years. I've also in the past served on the Murraysville Parks and Recreation Commission. You've received a deed that I downloaded from the Westmoreland County Recorder of Deeds public access site. This deed covers an 89-acre parcel of Duff Park, which is over 35% of the total acreage. I'll read one pertinent section from page 5 of this 15-page document. Together with all and singular the improvements thereon. I'm sorry, I take my glasses off for the font. With the appurtenances and all coal underlying said tract reserving thereout, and therefrom to the parties of the first part, their heirs and assigns all the oil and gas underlying the premises to be conveyed. It's pretty clear. Parties of the first part are the sellers, and their heirs and assigns own all the gas underneath that portion of Duff Park. Now, you said that we're going to review this in the November meeting, go over some of the tracks, and hopefully we can discuss this one. I talked to a lawyer about it, and he reviewed the document and said the municipality cannot allow drilling in or through this tract because of the covenant in this deed. I'll be back when we discuss in particulars on the November meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Vincent. Vincenti. Name and address, please.
Laura Vincenti, 127 Ridge Lane here in Murraysville. I am a new resident. I am here to speak about the gas and oil leasing in Duff Park. Personally, I'm looking forward to walking the parks, the leaves, etc. As you probably know, Duff Park is designated as a wild plant sanctuary by the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation, in addition to the other designation that was mentioned earlier. You may remember I was here a couple months ago when you guys were working on the fracking ordinance, and I continue to be worried about the immediate and the long-term effects of gas and oil work in our community. And Olympus does not have a good track record regarding industry violations. You also mentioned earlier that this would not be an installation of a gas well, but rather Olympus would be accessing the subsurface gas, and that the actual well is over in Penn Township. Can you, I don't know if you can have time to do this evening, but I would really like to know exactly what's going to be permitted and not permitted on that property. I've also learned recently that part of, is it Kowalczyk Park, if I'm pronouncing it properly, has already been leased to a different fracking company. And I do recognize that the leasing money is difficult to turn down. But with Allegheny County having banned the leasing of parks to frackers, it is a little disappointing to see Murraysville going in the opposite direction. And while I'm here, I just Googled the Murraysville tree sign, because I'm a new resident, I've never seen it before. Yeah, that's worth saving, because there's a great old picture when you look it up on Google. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. What's that?
He signed the wrong seat.
On the wrong sheet. All right, you want to come up?
Come up and name and address.
Yeah. You can give your name and address, please? You have 3 minutes.
Ronald Wolf, 3644 Forbes Trail Drive, Murraysville, PA. I was here last month talking about FITSMA, but tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about the traffic out on Route 22. Probably 30 years ago, Pleasant Hills was wise enough to set the traffic signals to the speed limit so that if you were exceeding the speed limit, the traffic signal turned red. I don't see why we can't do that in Murraysville. When I'm out on 22 doing 40 mile an hour out the road, people are passing me like I'm parked or I have a flat tire. So, and if, unfortunately, somebody just died out at School Road because of speeding and running red lights. So maybe we can look into that situation, change the traffic signals where if you're speeding, the light changes red. My other question is, are these meetings still televised?
Yes.
What channel?
21? Channel
It's just
21.
21? Because my wife couldn't find it the other day.
Used to be 19, but they changed it to 21.
Okay.
If you have the internet at home, you can also see it on the website too. It streams on the website.
And my other question was, did anybody look into any of the questions I asked last month? I know they're in the minutes of the meeting. And if you didn't, I scribbled down the questions. I'll give them to you.
Okay, thank you.
I've been kind of sick. I was in the hospital for 5 days.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, anybody else? That's it. Okay, let's move on now to liaison comments and committees. Matt, you want to start over there?
Sure. Not a lot to report for Parks and Recreation. The mayor hit on the trick or treat on the trail. Please, we're looking for vendors, participants. So anyone that wants to participate in it, make sure you get on the website and sign up. Usually we get a lot of people that sign up for that, but also we need vendors to pass out candy and participate in that, so please do so. I also just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out and a thank you to Mike Jones, who is, he does the field maintenance for FRAA, and he spent all day long up at MCP working on the fields, and Bill had reported that he's done just a fantastic job. He really did a nice job. Fields look great up there. So that's not easy work. So, you know, it's nice to see that the organizations that are using it take pride in it as well. So
that is.
I want to thank them for doing that.
Okay, thank you.
That's good.
Amy Lynn?
The next school board meeting is October 23rd. It is again a combined committee of the whole and board meeting.
Jamie Lee Corns.
Nothing new to report.
Okay. Carl.
Yes, the Parks and Recreation Foundation meeting, I was not able to attend. I was working, but I did get a debrief from John Kay. He indicated that several things were discussed. One was that White Valley is considering the donation of a baseball field, and the municipality in turn perhaps will offer access to the trail from White Valley. There will be a revision, editing is in process of the bylaws. It was also said that it's looked to be 2 committees will be formed. One will focus on fundraising and the other will be focused on communications. That was it for the next meeting is going to be held on November 20th. There was a meeting of the Planning Commission on October 10th. 3 subjects. The first was the LVF property, which will be discussed today. Jim Fox was there making the presentation. Just some highlights because they'll go into the detail, but there is going to be 40 parking spaces, which exceeds the 30 required. LVF does own Lot 3, and the first tenant will be the Pittsburgh Flooring Company. and it was approved by the Planning Commission. The second one was the expansion or addition, if you will, to what was the Choice gas station, or what is. To its left will be the Your Daily Brew, which will be a place for the sale of basically beer. And there is going to be, it was decided and looked at, adequate parking spaces. There is not going to be glazing on the back of the building, and a variance will be required, but it's basically a hillside behind there, so that's not necessarily, doesn't look like it'll be a roadblock. And let's see, it was discussed also that there is adequate space for a beer truck delivering. And there was some, not issues, but data with respect to the utilities. Electric, gas, and water was not necessarily complete, so the issue itself was tabled by the Planning Commission for the next Planning Commission. Finally, the Eaton Park expansion, and once again there are a team here, I believe. One of the reasons for the expansion was to have a fully ADA compatible facility. The facade is going to be cedar wood and red brick, and we're hoping to have some sample material here, which apparently we do. And it was approved. So that was the meeting of the Planning Commission.
Very good, Carl. Mr. Lemak.
The library meets tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And Medic 1 meets tomorrow, too. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to 9C.
Well, before we get to that, if council would like to have discussion, on item 9B regarding council meeting dates. I know that that was a topic last meeting. Councilman Lemak was not present. I don't know if council would like to go back into that discussion or wait until the November meeting. That's entirely up to the group here. But item 9B could still be discussed if you'd like, or if you want to
I'd
table
offer
it,
an
you can do
opinion,
that.
we should discuss it.
What's that?
I think we just
should
have to
discuss
bear
it.
in mind Dane's
Is there
not
any
here.
objections to that?
No, I'm fine with discussing it. We just need to bear in mind Dane's not here. I don't know if anyone else is familiar with all of his required meetings that he has to attend.
I think it focuses on the second meeting of council being a Wednesday that he can't make, and that's,
Right.
of course, why he's not here now, but that's the essence of it.
Yeah.
And it was discussed to be
Like
the
a
third
Monday or
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
And
yeah.
I don't know if Councilman Lemak has any input into that, or.
I spoke to Dane offline after the last council meeting, and I said I wouldn't have a problem moving the second meeting.
Right. So the meetings would be the first Wednesday and the third Tuesday. Is that right?
Didn't you say that there could be a conflict with that, depending upon when the month's Tuesday before the third Wednesday?
That's right. The third Tuesday could potentially be in the following week, prior to the fourth Wednesday, if you will. And it can still take place that way. We can still advertise it. It may be a little bit confusing in those months. Probably only it would happen once or twice throughout the year, but just something to note. I don't think it's prohibitive, but we should be aware of that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we just alleviate that by saying it's the Tuesday before the third Wednesday?
Could do that as well.
That would make it consistent.
The 2 days
the whole year.
that Dane said were Monday and Tuesday, right? Was there conflict Monday at all, or no?
Not here.
School board meetings are on Mondays.
Okay.
That's my conflict.
We all in agreement?
I think the wording of, do we need a motion for Jamie's
Are we
third
gonna?
Tuesday before the third Wednesday?
I don't think this is just a discussion right now. There's no action.
Yeah, because I would say we should verify that Dane's still good with Tuesday before we vote on it and change it, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
We have time because
Yeah.
the next meeting is first Wednesday.
Wasn't it?
No, we haven't advertised anything because this is what we're trying to figure out.
I thought it
is
was in there.
How we want that second date to play out on a calendar. So whether it's the third Tuesday or the Tuesday before the third Wednesday. That's the discussion. It sounds like that's kind of what we have it narrowed down to, and we would advertise whichever one council wants to move forward with. And again, that can wait until November 1st. However, it may create some complication for advertising a second November meeting, but you standing time that was currently advertised, so the meeting would still take place November 15th. Again, you have the option, it's entirely your option. You could have this start at the beginning of the new year if you'd like as well. That would mean Councilman Dice would miss the November and the December 2nd meetings. So those are the items to consider.
I mean, I think we could do the normal meeting for November, but I don't see why, if we're gonna change it, why have them miss a meeting in December? You know what I mean? So, just so we can have it, can we just advertise for a regular meeting in November, and then December would be the Tuesday? We would move it to Tuesday, assuming we vote on it at the next meeting.
I think we should just move forward now and advertise it as that Tuesday before the third Wednesday, so he misses no more meetings. I mean, as the president, I think he should.
Yeah, I'm good.
We should
This is
accommodate
the
it.
workshop.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
So do we add that to the agenda for vote?
To do that?
Does it have to be voted on? I mean,
I would say you have to vote on it because you're advertising new meeting dates, approving the advertisement of new meeting dates.
Eaton Park.
So that would go under an action item, we would be.
Sure, we could add it as item 13E. Day and the Tuesday before the third Wednesday, if that's what is agreed upon, and we would advertise those dates beginning in November.
Whatever.
Say that 3 times fast.
So, yeah, we can add that as item 13E if you'd like.
Complicated all of a sudden.
13E.
Huh?
Okay. That'll be 13E.
Yeah, okay. 13E. Okay.
11A.
Let's go to move 11A. Do I have a motion?
don't we need 9C?
To make,
Discussion.
9C.
You miss C?
It was a write-in, Tony.
Oh, okay.
Provide an update on that and maybe even turn it over to the.
That's you again.
Wes, do you want to take this or me to?
Sure. The municipality was approached by Olympus Energy regarding a subsurface oil and gas lease under MCP. The proposal by Olympus would be $5,000 per acre as a signing bonus. Just for everybody's edification, there's 305 acres there, so that would be roughly 1.525 million. It would be a either a 7 and 5 or a 5 and 5 lease. It would be 18% royalty with no production or post-production deductions. And sort of the type of provisions that they had suggested in the Duff Park lease. The idea behind Olympus is to use the Titan pad off of Bollinger Road and drill 2 or 3 Marcellus legs under the park and 1 Utica leg under the park. Of course, that's the proposal by Olympus, and we have, I think, an obligation to solicit bids from any other companies that may be interested in putting in a proposal. Now, of course, there's some urgency because of budgetary reasons, as I understand it, from Olympus's perspective, that they would like to have it done this year if that's what council decides to go forward on. So I would recommend that we at least authorize the advertisement for bids for the subsurface drilling under MCP. Of course, whether we go forward and enter into a lease is still down the road. At least this way, we can get the bid proposal part of the equation out of the way.
And just for, I wouldn't say clarification, but this is for the subsurface. This would be not anything to do with the surface and MCP.
That is correct, Mr. Stepanovich. And of course, it's still subject to title clearance and things of that sort. Olympus has indicated to me that they have title in, but it has not yet been reviewed. But at least the first thing we have to do is, if we want to go forward with this concept, or at least consider going forward with this concept, is to advertise for bids. What we do with the bids is for another day.
Okay.
I'm for advertising.
Yep.
Everybody agree?
That'll be 13D, right?
That's, yeah, further down.
We all agree to that?
Okay. So I think there would be, that would be a,
Yep, 13D, right? Yep.
it's not on the,
Add to 13D, right?
yeah, advertise for, motion to advertise for bids for subsurface gas development under Murraysville Community Park.
That'd be what, 13F?
D.
I have the language here
Okay, D.
that we can use when we get to that agenda item.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not at this time.
Wes, were there other bids when we advertised for Duff?
No, there were not, Mr. McKenna.
Thank you. All right.
There were no other bids when we advertised for Kowalczyk, and there were no other.
Yeah, I knew
bids
that one.
when
Okay.
we advertised for Duff Park.
That's it.
Let's move on to 11A. Yeah,
All right.
11A.
Okay. Need anything else? That's it? She died. Okay. Now we move on to 11A.
I'd like to make a motion.
You don't need one. We don't even need one.
Oh, discussion.
Discussion, yeah.
That's good. I like mistakes.
Sorry.
He's just trying to help us roll
Trying to
along.
move this
Yes.
Before we have discussion, I would just note that the address should be updated to reflect 3898 Old William Penn Highway. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, this
I
is
apologize. This is, okay. We're on a different one. I apologize.
This one's correct, 45.
Okay, this one is
Loneliest
correct.
Wednesday ever.
Jesse Stock, representing Eden Park at our location at 4584. So I want to describe what our concept is and what we're proposing at that location. Obviously, we've been there for some time. We love the community. We want to stay in the community. We want to be a part of it. Some of this triggers up, when was it probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago when the school van ran in. So yes, a part of this one would be bringing back the salad bar. We had to remove it at that time, but part of this would be interior and exterior work. So what we're reviewing today is a lot of that exterior addition, but it would be included with a lot of interior work. We're proposing a pickup window. This is not an order at location, right? You order ahead and pick up. So this is just a transaction. You order ahead online, via phone. We don't have the time for you to sit there and wait. Our orders are made, 20 minutes at a time. So this is not a quick serve where you can order there. There will not be cars stacked. Our policy is that if there's more than 2 cars stacked, we're going out to move them to dedicated takeout spaces that they can wait and place an order. That way we're not stacking cars all over the place. That addition, this would be our 51st of 58 locations that would have a pickup window. So we've learned a lot throughout the years. We feel like we do a great job at takeout, and it would be a great amenity for the community. We find a lot of families with kids that this is a great way to pick up a fresh and healthy meal from our location and on your way home from school or wherever it might be. The other part of the addition is it looks like a dining room, right? It is a dining room, but what you need to understand is we're taking a part of the existing dining room and making our restrooms ADA compliant. So we're growing that space for restrooms, but so shrinking down the dining room. So truly, our dining room is not, increasing exponentially. In some scale, it is. Overall, and I can describe to you if you get a chance to look at it, where the additions are. To the right is the pickup window. To the left is the dining room addition. We remove parking spaces there, gain parking spaces down where the handicap parking is, and in other areas throughout the development, that area of the development, we would be a net positive 1 parking space for this development over here. So we're actually going to add a space compared to what's here right now by shifting the other lanes. It all would fit within the township regulations.
Excuse us. Would you please step outside if you need to speak in the audience?
It's hard to hear.
And the cameras, because it is televised, it's very difficult for folks at home, just kind of based on space. Sorry.
Thank you. The other things to recognize here, we would be redoing all of our handicap parking spaces in front of the restaurant to be fully compliant. So that would be another great addition for that location, make it safer. The area to note to the right too is creating a drive lane circulation lane for the pickup window and for our delivery and traffic to get around. Currently, this is a dead end. It's where our dumpsters are. We find a lot of vehicles that come to there, have to do, I wouldn't even call it a 3-point turn. It would be a multi-point turn to then relocate out. So this would create a safe path around the restaurant. Obviously, there'd be a stop sign at the top, right, to pause traffic there. It relocates the dumpster down to that bottom right-hand corner. It would be built into there with a retaining wall on the backside, and we have some of the materials here that we, make a nice dumpster because it would be very visible at that location. No more visible than it currently is at the end of both sides of the development there. We do have a lot of the materials to speak to here. I know that might be something, we have them all right here. These are materials that we've used at other locations. Branding for Eden Park. I did provide, I don't know if they made it over to, but pictures of previous locations of these materials actually being utilized at our locations.
Can I ask a quick question? Sure. The spots in 11, which is the neighboring parking lot, those are the spots, the parking spots, spaces that are there today?
Correct.
They don't change?
They don't change. All we're doing is we're addressing all new landscaping there and adding new steps for access. That's a separate development, even though very, very close proximity there, though, right? We didn't want to count those into there, but they could be utilized. Those are existing.
Thank you.
Sure.
But the spaces that go along the side of the building here, those go away due to the expansion, correct?
Correct. And then we gain the ones below it, right? So you gain those further down in front of it, right? Because we're moving them over.
He's here.
Yep, it's actually to the other side of it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, thank you. Yep.
Okay.
See here. So these ones down in the bottom right here, we gain here, and then throughout the development, I did provide another PDF that kind of shows where, I don't know if that one made it over to you guys. It was with the attached pictures, but it shows throughout the development the net gain of 1 spot. So there was the loss of 7 here, gain of 3 here, and then throughout the rest of the development, there's areas where the drive lanes are over 40 feet, so you can add 2 spots in and still have a safe distance of a drive lane. So it's just maximizing the spaces that are there within the township ordinances for parking spaces.
I don't know if it'll be worthwhile, but for people who are not here via the TV of showing the material, is it something if they were held up, Michael?
Yeah, we can have the overhead camera point down to those.
Sure.
The camera's up there.
Oh, nice.
I have a quick question on the parking, if you can pull back that last slide. Mike, can you pull that back up, the parking space? I just had a quick question.
Which one do we want? We got,
Where you were
is this
previously.
the elevation view that you were referring to?
Yeah, the site plan.
Okay, let me get the site plan as well.
Is like, right now, is there a stop sign right here? So like, because when you come in from the schools, right, you come down, there's a stop sign there. Is there one coming from Eaton Park?
You currently cannot come that direction.
No, I'm saying, so if you come in from the schools, you come to a stop sign, right?
Correct, yes.
Is there a stop sign, the traffic coming from Eaton Park towards D's, is there a stop sign there? Because that would have to be relocated, right?
Do you mean parallel to Buoncebo? Like,
Yeah, like I think there's a stop sign right here because this is closed
for
off.
folks coming this way?
Right, which that would probably have to move to here, correct? So that would be like a four-way intersection, kind
Yeah.
of, well, I guess a three-way intersection, kind of. Is that correct? I think so.
I need to verify that stop sign there. I know there is one when you come down from school, absolutely. It's
There
the
is a
cross
stop
that I
sign,
don't.
and
there
it's,
is.
it's kind of where you show the landscaping now, it's further
Okay.
I
out.
think it's right here
It's right there.
now,
Got it.
because this doesn't exist, you can't come
Mhm.
through here.
Yeah, so it would have to.
It would probably relocate to here, and then these would stop, right? And there's a stop sign here too for there.
Correct, that would.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, to get around it.
Could the plans be updated to reflect that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good catch, Mac. Excellent.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Did you want me to put that up as well?
Sure, this is just another location for us where these example here that we have, these are all the same panels. They're made out of composite, Portland cement, fly ash, and pulpwood compressed. Hold up really well over time. We've had our first installation was in 2013 at our Whitehall location, so we have some experience with these panels and their longevity. It's great that the stone on the bottom is also the same panelized format, and so that's right here. And this gives you an example of the interpretation of these materials at an Eaton Park and how they would be utilized at this location. We're hopeful, just from a timing standpoint, this is a project we'd love to see move forward as we're being a part of the community. So really going into the cooler season here, we would love to be pushing forward. This is not one we would sit on. We would want to act. So we would love to progress forward through the site plan progression so that we may be able to get some of the work done in this calendar year.
Ask questions? Any other questions?
Any other questions? Discussion?
No, we're good.
That's it.
I don't think so. I think it's a nice plan.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Out of curiosity, would this get pushed then to the next one for a vote, November 1st for a vote? Okay. Thank you.
All right. 13B.
Nice.
Ready? All right.
Okay, you ready, Jamie?
I'd like to make a motion to advertise for a public hearing to present proposed amendments to the 2023 operating budget to be held on November 1st, 2023 at 7:00 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Jamie and Matt. And Jason.
13C.
I'd like to make a motion to advertise for a public hearing to present proposed amendments to the 2023 operating budget to be, advertise for a public hearing to present, the 2024 operating budget to be held on November 1st, 2023 at 7 p.m.
Second.
Thank you, Jason and Carl. Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
As far as item 13D, I put up on the screen here, hopefully we can display it on the screen, what the motion would look like if council would like to authorize staff to solicit bids for the oil and gas rights at MCP. So I'd ask that the screen be displayed showing item 13D. I can go back and tell them to put it up.
If not, do you want me to try to wing it, and then you could just tell me what's wrong, and then I can fix it before it's seconded?
Go for
What are we on, 13D?
Is it
Try to wing it.
particularly
I have it
complicated?
listed here in the same format as we've previously done that includes the acreage and the tax map parcel
Okay.
numbers. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a mouthful. I thought it might be easier to just display it.
Yeah, thank you.
And I also will have the same thing for item 13E when we get there for the council meeting advertisement. So that's what it should look like, I would say.
All right, I'll give it a whirl. I'd like to make a motion to authorize staff to solicit bids for the lease of oil and gas rights for approximately 305.90 acres of municipally owned property, Murraysville Community Park, at tax map numbers 49-00-00-066, 260 acres, and 49-11-00-0-103, 45.90 acres.
Second.
Thank you, Matt and Jamie. Any questions or discussion?
Not at this time.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. See, what are we on here, Carl? 13 what?
E.
D?
Give it a whirl.
I think just to have
meeting
some brief discussion on this as we wait for it to display on the screen, it may make more sense to call it a revised meeting schedule for the remainder of the year. The reason being is that as we go into next year, we're going to advertise all of the meeting dates for '24.
Meeting dates.
So this would just correct the 2 meeting dates remaining in '23. Pardon me?
It would just be November and December.
That's right. So what you have there in front of you, if you're in agreement with that motion, it would be to advertise the revised schedule for the
Yeah.
2 Tuesdays that precede the existing meeting dates, and it would cancel those scheduled meetings for the Wednesdays.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing because they're going to reorganize Danes. They could change it to, you know what I mean?
It's also a possibility.
So we just do it through the end of this year, and then when we reorganize, we redo it again.
Okay.
Make a motion.
I make a motion
You want to do
to
it?
authorize staff to advertise a revised meeting schedule for the remainder of 2023 to hold council meetings on Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, and Tuesday, December 9th, 2023, and cancel the scheduled meetings for Wednesday, November 15th, 2023, and Wednesday, December 20th, 2023.
Got a second?
Second.
Carl and Jamie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Where are we at here, Carl?
I think 14A, I think we're through with.
Consent
Hey,
reminders.
John,
Item 14A was tabled relative to the short-term ordinance.
Yeah,
I
that's-
believe we would be on to item 14B. And again, the address for that one should be updated to reflect 3898
3890.
Old William Penn Highway.
Okay, 13.
I'll make a motion to approve CU-1-23 LVF Property Development LLC, tax parcel 49-14-01-0-215, 3898 Old William Penn Highway, mixed-use zoning for a proposed retail use.
Second.
Second. Matt, Jamie, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, what do we have here?
15A.
13A.
15A?
15A.
Make a motion to authorize the release of the bond being held to ensure completion of the required improvements of the Villa Ciano development.
Second.
Jamie and Jamie. Any questions on the release of the bond? All in favor?
Looks good.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 16A.
Motion to award the contract for DPW 523 Municipal Building HVAC
project to the Mechanical Services Company LLC in an amount not to exceed $286,495.
Second.
Jamie and Jamie? Thank you.
Good evening, Council.
Hi, Paul. Bill?
Good evening, Council. On October 11th, we opened bids for the HVAC work. We had 2 bidders supply us with bids, and as we opened them, of course, the low bid was $286,495. We look for your graces to award that bid to Mechanical Services. Currently, they're the ones that do our HVAC service work. So we know a little bit about the company and feel confident that they'll get this job done for us.
When would you plan to start the work on that?
There's a 20-week wait for materials, so as soon as I can get this contract signed and back to them, we'll start the 20 weeks.
20.
20 weeks.
20.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in a hurry. I want to get moving because that's going to put me right into spring. And as I said last meeting, right now I have the air conditioners are all broken at the police station. We're using portable units.
No pun intended, but these sweating bullets.
Very good,
You're
Carl.
punny. You're so punny.
You go ahead of the class.
I think-
Police really need.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments?
Repartee.
Thank you for doing your due diligence as always, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I do have just a little question. When they redo this, are they going to like clean the existing ducts that are in there? Are they all going to be replaced? Because I know that there's definitely a different distribution of air, like between in here and back there. Is that problem going to be resolved with this?
It needs to be resolved. That's one of the ideas of what we're doing here. There's about 76 different units that work the HVAC system, and they're controlled. And what we believe is happening right now is, of course, the system's getting older, but those valves are not working the way they should be. So by changing all 76 of those, the 4 units on the roof, we should take care of that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hey, Bill, that bid, and that's just for this building only?
Correct.
Okay, because I knew
That
we
would-
had some other stuff AC-wise going on, but this is just that.
Right, that would encompass the library, the admin
Library.
area, and the police station.
Police station, correct.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Dico, any old business?
No old business,
How about new business?
no new business for this evening. I think we covered enough of that. We will have a brief executive session for some property and litigation matters, but nothing further.
We do have an executive session?
Yes.
Just a brief one.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn to executive session.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
To executive session.
And we don't need a second for that, right?
Yep.
Can I get a motion?
No, motion to adjourn to executive session, sure.
Motion adjourned.
I thought you
Somebody.
did.
We had 4 motions.
Everybody override.